Hello and welcome to this week's Strange Pathways. I am your host, Scott Mort. I've had a great week. I hope you've had a great week too. I've spent a lot of time this week goofing around with my 3D printer. I'm a big fan of 3D printing. I think it's an amazing technology. I think it's a technology that'll eventually really, really change the world. It's incredible whenever you stop and think about it, what all 3D printers can do. If you haven't, I strongly suggest get onto some 3D printing websites. One of the guys I like to watch on YouTube, 3D Printing Nerd, one of the sites I love to go to, Yeji.com, which is kind of like a conglomerate search engine for 3D printing. The stuff that is out there for any hobby that you have is absolutely amazing. I recently broke the car door handle on my car. I am currently in the process of replacing that car door handle with one that I've designed myself and going to print out myself. Really looking forward to that and really having a lot of fun with it. So get out there, find something that you're interested in, really check out the hobby of 3D printing. Absolutely amazing. Now, one of the things that I don't think people realize a lot is that these mysteries, the strange, the odd, they don't have to be naturally occurring. They can be completely man-made, completely on purpose. And that brings us to Cain's Jawbone. Edward Powys Mathers was an English translator. He was a poet, too. And he had a hobby himself, which was cryptic crosswords. Now, he was incredibly talented at puzzles. And this eventually led him to The Observer, where he wrote his crosswords under the pseudonym Torquemada. In 1934, he published a book, Cain's Jawbone. In Mather's own words, the pages have been printed in an entirely haphazard and incorrect order, a fact which reflects little credit on somebody. The author assures his readers, however, that while it is now too late for him to remedy the ordering of the pages, it is quite possible for them, should they care to take the trouble, to reorder them correctly for themselves. The number of possible combinations is a number with 158 digits. Not 158 possible combinations, but the number has 158 digits. But that's not enough. That's not enough to just put the pages in the right order. Then you must solve the names of the murderers in the victims within the story using the word games that have been set in place, quotes, references, puns, spoonerisms. Only 4 people have solved this in its 87 years of existence. This has been widely considered to be the toughest literary mystery to solve. It's been deemed one of the hardest and most beguiling word puzzles ever published. Now, out of these 4 solves, 2 of them happened in the 1930s. A Mr. Sidney Turner and a Mr. W. Kennedy. They both won 25 pounds. And they kept the answer to themselves. They verified it with the author. He said that's correct. They kept it to themselves. And then the author passed away. And the 2 winners passed away. The solution was thought to be lost. But just last year, 2020, a museum curator at Shandy Hall, Patrick Wildegust, he was able to match his answer to one of the original solves. So the mystery is reissued with a prize of £1,000 to anyone who could solve it within a year of publishing. And then the COVID lockdowns happen. And a British comedy writer named John Finnemore, he solved it. He solved Cain's Jawbone. He called it far and away the most difficult puzzle he'd ever attempted. Finnemore, Wildegust, they have agreed to keep the solution a closely guarded secret. Shandy Hall, they will confirm any further solutions if they're submitted. Now, if you'd like to try your hand at Cain's Jawbone, I'm going to put a link to Cain's Jawbone. You can purchase it on Amazon right now. To me, that's incredible. That's incredible. You have the opportunity to go out there and try your hand at one of the most amazing puzzles mankind has ever created. And unlike a lot of the paranormal ones, this has a solution. This can be verified. So get on over there. Good luck. Now that Amazon link, that'll be there for those of you that want to have that physical copy in your hands. Maybe you're a bit more like me, though. Maybe you like the digital realm for this sort of thing. I love PDFs. I love my Kindle. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to provide you with a link to a Google Docs account where you can download Cain's Jawbone. Give it a try for free. And you'll find that link over at the Strange Pathways Facebook page. Our next tale comes from a well that I go to very often, phantomsandmonsters.com. Lon Strickler has cemented himself in my mind as a modern-day Charles Fort, a modern-day Brad Steiger, although Brad Steiger very much of the modern day, passed on, sadly. Lon has created this beautiful website that is just a rabbit hole. You can get lost on this. This is a place where you just spend hours and hours and hours. Now, on December 19th, this very day, Lon posted a story that was sent to him about a few strange encounters that happened right here in my home state of Pennsylvania. This episode might be a little Pennsylvania heavy. Bear with me on that. But to be fair, Pennsylvania is an odd place. It's quite strange. I've lived all over the country, many different places. I don't intend to stay in Pennsylvania. Honestly, there's too many bad memories here for me. But I must say it is a beautiful part of the country. And it is a very, very strange part of the country. So this gentleman, he did write Lon, explaining that him and his wife had lived in Pennsylvania for about 5 years. He had moved to Carbondale, about 20 minutes away from Scranton. He actually moved there from New York City. And in New York City, he says, you know what, there's the strangest thing you see is a raccoon or an owl. There's no wildlife in New York except for rats, seagulls, and pigeons. He's averaging about one strange encounter a year. He's had 5 odd encounters. So he's saying that one night, he and his wife were on the front porch. They were enjoying a cigarette. It was dark, and they hear something coming through a narrow patch of brush from across the street. And I mean, it's pitch black. The street lights were on, but it's kind of like in this dead zone between lights. This thing, though, you can kind of make it out walking through this dense brush. It seemed to be pretty tall. And it was about 6 foot. 6 foot. And it kind of had like, it was very twig shaped. He said it kind of reminded him of the meth heads that he saw in New York. He said it just walked out of the bushes, down the block, and it would follow the darkness between the streetlights. Now, on another occasion, he was walking his dog one night, and out of the corner of his eye, there was this tall thing next to a tree, just a little ways down from him. Much like my first Bigfoot encounter, you see it out of the corner of your eye, you look, and it's gone. This guy does a double take, and it's gone. Poof. Now there is a third one, and these last three are all kind of related. This gentleman and his wife, they're hiking in Merle Sarnosky Park, just off the main trail. And they come face to face with something. He said it was about 50 yards in front of him, and there is a dark gray, almost black, but not quite, something. It's a dog something. And it's carrying a dead fox in its mouth. Now he's willing to go, this one maybe, it might have been a wolf. But Pennsylvania not known for wolves. We do have coyote. Occasionally a wolf will appear. But like I said, we do have coyote. We do have some feral dogs. I'm going to tell you something that might get you upset, but it is the honest truth. A lot of the Amish families do not treat their dogs well. So if the dog can't find food for itself, the dog will go off and join another pack of feral dogs. So he's willing to admit this might be what he saw, but it's not a coyote. It's not a coyote. The gentleman grabs his pistol, pushes his wife back down the trail in the direction they came. Whatever it was, decided not to lose its fox dinner and go after them, thankfully. For the fourth encounter, this one happens little less than a year ago. He and his wife are dead asleep, and their dog is sleeping between their feet. They're woken up by the sound of a wolf howling. And then less than a month ago, he and his wife are again on the porch and having a cigarette, and they hear something heavy walking across the awning above them. The same awning that's right in front of their bedroom window where they heard the howl. Now, he's saying that he'd like answers. Wouldn't we all? He's not really hopeful of getting anything on camera. And I'd say that's a fair guess. Pennsylvania's strange. Pennsylvania's kind of odd. Our next tale comes to us from Pennsylvania. Just about an hour away from me, a little town called Ardara, Pennsylvania, very close to Pittsburgh. Now, I found this story on Reddit. Normally, I don't go to Reddit for a lot of my stuff. It's too easy for stuff to disappear on Reddit. So I don't like going there for stuff. But this story fascinated me because there is a lot of detail. We have a town. We have an exact location. We can go and look at this on a map. We could go there and walk to the spot where Reddit user HatGirlCatLover claims to have had this experience. So this takes place in 2014. It's in March. And at this time, Hair Girl Cat Lover, she's a sophomore in high school. Two of her friends had a sleepover on a Friday night, and they were always adventurous. I can understand that. You live in a small Pennsylvania town. You do tend to like walk around the woods a lot and go here, go there, try to find places that you've never really been. Now, I'm just going to call her Hair Girl. Hair Girl, she says that her parents always slept in on Saturday mornings because her mom was a bus driver and her dad worked at a car dealership, so they worked very hard during the week, so they slept in Saturday mornings. They figure her parents are going to be asleep for another 3 hours. Let's go to the train tracks, smoke cigarettes, smoke a little weed. Now they get all of their stuff and they head out early. The train tracks aren't really that far away from her, about less than a 10-minute walk. Now Adara is very small. There's about 30 houses. It's located to the side of a drag called 993. So they walk 993 for maybe about 50 feet. There's a post office for Adara. There's an incredible landmark right there. The post office from Adara. And right across from this post office is a bridge to go on to Leger Road. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Might be Ledger as well. She has it written Leger. They go over the bridge. It's been shut down for a few years. And once you cross the bridge, there's going to be a little cut in the wood that loops you back around to the train tracks. Now, she's saying these train tracks were very long, very straight. You could see for a mile down the tracks. And on each side of the train track is a very steep hillside. And it's early in the year. Remember, it's March. So you can visibly see anything on these hillsides. Like if a deer was walking down there, you'd be able to see that deer. So they look around. They stop up, they huddle, and they're going to get ready to light their marijuana. They're going to light up half a bowl of marijuana. They huddle to light up the bowl. And they glance down one more time around themselves to make sure no one's around. She says out loud, "Do you guys see that too?" And they both say, yeah, we see that. It wasn't a man, but it was the same height and body of a man. This thing had no face, no ears, no mouth, no hair, not a hat on, no eyes, no nose. Hair Girl says it doesn't have skin tone. It's white. It's wearing like a blue jumpsuit that you would see a janitor, an auto mechanic have on. It wasn't tall. It wasn't abnormally thin. It's just a man with nothing for a face. It's a blank. And it's standing there, facing them, about 25 yards away. This thing appeared out of nowhere. They freak out. They run the other direction back towards the bridge as fast as they can. Hair Girl said she looked back just one time to make sure they were still both back there, and they were. Whenever she does, she sees the thing again. This time, it's not facing them. It's facing the hillside. If it's able to see, it's looking directly at the hillside. They run back under the bridge and then up and around to get to the top of the bridge. They wait there for an hour. They hope kind of that they don't see it, but they hope that they see it again, but they never, ever see it again. Hair Girl Cat Lover, she drew a little picture of what she saw, even took a few photos of where she saw it, the bridge, everything. This is a great tale because there's so much stuff. It's easy to believe this one, simply because we have the name of a town. We have directions to get to where it happened. We have photos. We have a drawing. It's so easy to go, I don't want to tell you where I saw this. Oh, it's a train track in a small town in Pennsylvania. You'll never find it. No. Hair Girl Cat Lover gives us the name of the town, the directions you need to get to where you need to go, and photos of where it happened. To me, this is the gold standard right here of the unknown. So a huge thank you going out to Hair Girl Cat Lover for this wonderful tale and all the proof that goes along with it. For our last tale, we're going to stay right in the state of Pennsylvania. But we're going to go to the other side. We're going to go to the city of Regalsville. Now, it's one thing for a citizen to see Bigfoot, a camper, a hunter. But what impresses me about this is here's a man, one Greg Stokes, who's coming out and saying he saw Bigfoot. And he's putting a lot on the line. Because Greg Stokes is a chiropractor in Regalsville, but he's also the mayor. You have the mayor of a small town, a business owner, a doctor in a small town, saying he saw Bigfoot. This takes us all the way back to July of 1984. Mayor Stokes, he was out camping in Pike County. At one point, he hears something on 2 feet rustling outside of his tent. Whatever it is, lets out a scream. Just Greg himself said it's a scream from hell. He sits bolt upright in his tent. This thing vibrated his body so hard he couldn't see the inside of the tent. It has this huge resonance. I find that fascinating. Do you know that some predators, some large predators, lions, tigers, Whenever they roar, they produce what's called infrasound. This infrasound hits you, and it sends you into shock. It'll rattle you. It'll paralyze you. And that's what I'm hearing happening here. You have so many Bigfoot encounters where the person says, it yelled, and the yell paralyzed me. And you're hearing it again here. Mayor Stokes says that this thing was close enough that he could hear its lips pop apart when it started to scream. This low, guttural tone. Now, Mayor Stokes, he's the first one to say, I'm not 100% sure this was Bigfoot, but he's 99% sure. He didn't actually see it. He heard it. He felt it. He felt the footsteps walking around his tent. Mayor Stokes is a man that I respect. Not only is he willing to come out and say he heard what he heard, he knows what happened to him, but he also spent the last 37 years reading, researching Sasquatch, meeting other people with similar experiences. There's a lot of sightings in his area. And you're probably sitting there thinking to yourself, what's a lot of sightings? 10 sightings a year? 20 sightings a year? There are 400 to 600 sightings that are reported a year. Four to 600 sightings a year that are reported. Probably much, much more than that. Just because people are afraid. People are afraid of being made fun of. Mayor Stokes said he's had people laugh at him. He doesn't care. Whenever I tell my story about how I've seen Bigfoot twice, people laugh at me. I don't care. I don't care what people think of me because I know what I saw. The next time you go to a zoo, here's what I want you to do. The next time you go to a zoo that has apes in it, orangutans, monkeys, I want you to stand about 10 foot away, 20 foot away, 30 feet away, and snap a few photos of them. See what kind of clarity you get on a phone picture. It's usually not very good. We always get these arguments that, well, yeah, you snapped a photo of Bigfoot, but it's not very clear, is it? Why is it not very clear? I will also argue, too, the clearest shot that we have of Bigfoot, the Patterson-Gimlin film, which I believe to be legitimate. I don't think that we'll ever get a beautiful shot of a Sasquatch like that again. But I do believe the Patterson-Gimlin film to be true. And the reason that I think Patterson and Gimlin got as close as they did to a Bigfoot was that they were on horseback. That the horse's smell masked their own. They have the clearest footage. Patterson and Gimlin had the clearest footage of Bigfoot ever. And it's still, to this day, being debated on whether it's true or not. Mayor Greg Stokes, he thinks it's true. He thinks that there is an unknown hominid wandering around the forests of America. Now, I think he's right. I know he's right. But until we stop ridiculing those that have had experiences, we will never, ever, ever get to the truth. It will be forever out of our grasp because we are unable to keep an open mind and accept the evidence as is. Thank you so much for joining me again on Strange Pathways this week. If you'd like to mail us with a story, some kind words, some criticism, please do so at strangepathwaysmail@gmail.com. Go out there, tell a friend, let others know about the show. The more people that listen to this, the more I'm going to be able to produce content. I would love to do this 5, 6, 7 times a week, every day. As of right now, I can only do it 1 time a week. I would love to increase that number. Be sure to come over to our Facebook page. I will have photos, drawings, links up there from the tales today. And please feel free to comment and interact. Share that Facebook group with people, and a lot of people have been coming over. Thank you so much for coming over and welcome. Let's keep this growing. Let's not let this die. Thank you once again so much for listening. Take care of yourselves and each other.